It's May the 1st. The weather is beautiful. It's getting warm. My God, could life be any better? Yes, it could, because you are being graced with the presence of the Conquistador and the Maestro. Your favorite politically incorrect sports podcast is back, baby.
Sports Frenzy 2.0, and we are fired up and ready to get this show cooking with gas.
Mostly because I got out of jury duty. I don't know what we would have done this week if it wasn't for the fact that I called in at 5 o'clock today on May the 1st. This, of course, drops on May the 2nd. And they said, you are no longer needed. That's the one sentence you really don't want to hear from anybody, except in this case. You don't want to hear it from your kids, your wife, your significant other. But if jury duty says you are no longer needed, you're like, hallelujah, crack a beer.
Thank you, Jesus. Life is beautiful.
All right, going to do things a little bit. This is going to be a little bit of a mess this week, not only here in the sports edition, but the weekend edition especially. Because when you've got jury duty hanging over your head, you don't prepare quite as much as you would because you figure it's going to be a wash. And then they come in and they say, we don't need you. They go, well, son of a bitch! I could have watched that movie or I could have listened to that album.
But alas, it's fine. Weekend stuff took me away from getting to some things that I wanted to. So.
But don't worry. I've got it all figured out. It's all good. In the sports edition right here, right now,
we're fine.
We're fine. So we start off, believe it or not, with baseball. We'll discuss football in a couple minutes. And we are, if anything, we are men of our word. I believe I said that last week.
Yep. We promised you something special, and we're damn well gonna deliver.
Just hang on for a few minutes, kids.
But wait, to start off baseball. I fucking told you so! Mike Trout was not going to play an entire season.
I'm sorry. Mike Trout. If we have to deal with this 7-8 years from now, this whole, oh my God, Mike Trout, oh, he should not be acclaimed as one of the best players of all. He's like Damian Lillard, except Damian Lillard doesn't get hurt as much. He's a compiler. That's all Mike Trout is a compiler. Oh, he gets off the 10 home run start in the first month of the season.
Yeah,
oh,
whoop-de-doo. He can get as hot as anybody at any time, but he's not durable.
And I don't know what kind of curse is going on with the LA Angels, but you've got Anthony Rendon, who now that is officially a hamstring tear, by the way. That's not a hamstring pull.
No, that's a tear.
But of course, he's probably ecstatic about it because remember,
that means he doesn't have to play anymore.
Remember, he said, baseball's not my top priority. And now Mike Trout, I'm really frustrated that I'm injured again.
My name's Mike Trout and I'm hurt again. I can't play.
There is something wrong here with these players. Either it's a conditioning.
Article had it earlier. Over the last 3 seasons of the combined games, I think over 900 and some games combined between Trout and Rendon, they collectively played a little over 380, and they're making over $200 million collectively.
Over that time span.
Yeah. Screwing the Angels entirely.
I don't know how you can base a financial system in a sport on 100% guaranteed money. Now, of course, we'll get to the NBA later.
Oh, that's a whole nother crap fest.
And everybody's going, well, what's the problem with the starting pitchers, which we addressed a couple weeks ago. We did a round table on that. But the fact is, these players, I'm sorry, aren't as tough as the old school players.
They're not durable for whatever reason.
You can sit there and talk about all the innovations with nutrition and with fitness.
And
It's
sleep
not
studies.
working. It's not working. Let them go out and drink all night and smoke in the dugout and take amphetamines.
And eat as many damn hot dogs as they can.
Jesus God. The players in the 70s and the early 80s, in terms of durability.
What coffee do you want, leaded or unleaded?
Yeah.
Unleaded was just regular caffeinated coffee. Leaded had a little amphetamine kicked in there.
And those guys played almost every game, every year. And produced and had higher batting averages before the analytic geeks took over.
And ruined the game.
Said, swing for the fences. Who cares about a single? Swing for the fences. Just like in basketball. Take the three-pointer. Who cares about the two?
The three. No.
I will admit right now, I will put it in the record, the Sports Frenzy record, right now. When Mike Trout gets put in the Hall of Fame, which he will, I will be the first one to say, bullshit.
Compiler.
He's just lucky Scott Rowland's in. Because Scott Rowland will always be the least significant Hall of Famer of all time.
Yeah, Trout won some MVPs early on. Deservedly so? That's debatable.
Again, but the team really didn't do anything with him. Really never did anything with him.
And you look at these guys always being touted as, oh, they're the greatest player of their generation. And that hype follows them their entire career, even when it's not warranted. Everybody's so sucked in to believing Trout is the best player in the game. There's better players out there.
Yeah, who's the kid from Cincinnati right now? Now, he'll get the tag, and then things will go downhill.
Yeah.
But Ellie De La Rosa, already hitting for power and stealing more bases than most teams.
Yeah.
But very early, we preach caution here.
Yeah.
On Sports Frenzy because we've been burned in the past.
Strasburg.
He did get one. But you're right. Overall, a disaster.
Another injury.
He'll never get in the Hall of Fame.
No,
and he'll never get in the Hall of Fame. But he got the ring. I'm just saying.
They finally put a team around
him.
The
Nationals.
And he lucked
this is one of those situations, one of those hypothetical questions where if you went to the management at the time of the Nationals and said, okay, you'll get one World Series championship and Strasburg will be a key part of that. Otherwise, he's going to suck you dry in terms of money. Will you take it? And they'd probably go, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take it. Not thinking about a long-term sustainable future, a dynasty.
Nope, it's all for that one moment instead of trying to build something.
Yep. Now, the Orioles are doing very, very well. They have beat the Yankees here in a big-time matchup in the AL East. They've won the first two games. The Yankees having issues hitting.
They've scuffled at the plate all season.
We're seeing a lot of teams doing that right now.
Yeah.
The Cubs can't hit right now either, but of course they've got Bellinger and Suzuki on the IL. No excuse though.
No, you have to.
You have to do what you got to do with what you got. But the Orioles decide smartly, we've got enough weapons right now. We will send our number one prospect, Jackson Holliday, back to the minors.
Let him continue to get some at bats.
He looked overmatched. He really looked overmatched. He was
not quite ready.
Yeah. So, and they've got that luxury. They have that
do.
luxury to do that. Should we talk about the Minnesota Twins and their 10-game winning streak? Because 7 of them have been against the White Sox.
No kidding. Including yesterday and today as we tape. And 10-5 win today after a 3-2 win yesterday.
What a bizarre situation, though. So the Twins, beat the White Sox in 4, right?
Yeah.
Then they go out, I can't remember if it was the Angels or who they beat in 3. And then they come back now and beat the White Sox in 3. But in the meantime, the White Sox sweep the Rays.
Yeah. Oh, and so what do they do for Monday? After sweeping the Rays over the weekend, they decide, oh, we need to give a couple of the guys a day off. What the fuck are you doing? You have your biggest winning streak of the season. There's nothing on the line. Why the hell are you resting anybody? You're on a roll. You keep trotting the same damn lineup out there. Analytic assholes be damned. You do what's best to keep the guys rolling. You don't screw up the timing of everything.
And now they're paying for it.
Yep.
Because now the
Pedro
Twins...
Grifol is a piece of garbage as a manager. Chris Getz is a piece of garbage as a general manager. He was a piece of garbage as director of player personnel because they got nothing right now.
And you told me over the weekend. When I texted you and I said, look at this. The White Sox are no longer the worst team in baseball. Now it's the Marlins. And you said...
I said, wait a couple days.
And sure enough, yep, they come right back and they fail miserably against the Twins. Do you want to tell the kids about their record?
6-25. One game behind the Marlins and Rockies is the worst team.
14 behind the Cleveland Guardians.
Yep, who have dropped a couple. But the Sox, hey, they're up to 2.8 runs scored a game now. Ooh. They've got a...
Woo! They're on fire. Watch out. Watch out.
Yeah, they had a couple games where they put up 10 and a couple with 5, and they still suck. They still have the worst run differential at 84. Minus 84.
Well, the Cubs, they're struggling right now. A lot of guys injured. No excuse. They're hanging in there. Going for their 3rd game in 4 nights in New York, playing the Mets. Right now, 1 game behind Milwaukee. Big series coming up this weekend. Cubs are 18-12. 1 game behind Milwaukee, but they lose another player to the IL. Jordan Wicks, forearm issues. Don't like to hear that.
No, that's never a good
Supposedly,
thing.
Justin Steele close to coming back. Counsell, I'll tell you what, Counsell is doing the best he can with this team.
You've got a couple of manager wins already under your belt this year.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's had to switch closers. He's got 3/5 of his rotation out. Luckily, Tyone came back and his pitch lights out. Good, because he's finally earning his money.
Yeah, they definitely needed him to step up.
Assad is underrated as a starter. But last night they lose 4-2. They give up 3 unearned runs. So the defense kind of letting them down a little bit right now. But the offense is really the problem.
Yeah.
Once again, I've said this for years and years and years. And this is where I go against the analytics geeks. And I'm always... You've got to have a couple guys in that lineup who hit 300. You've got to.
You have to.
And the Cubs have got nobody right now. I think Tauchman is the only guy, and he's only part-time. Only guy hitting 300. And the guys who you'd expect to, Nico Horner, Ian Happ. Ian Happ's a piece of crap.
Yeah,
I want that down again on the record. I know I've said it before. Down on the record, Ian Happ is a piece of overpaid, overrated crap. $20 million for what he does?
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
And everybody always talks about offense is going to be down in the cold weather. We haven't had that cold of weather to start this season. It's been warmer than usual.
No, there are other teams who are launching home runs.
Yeah.
We got plenty of guys who are approaching double digits 1 month into the season, on pace for 40, 50 home runs. Just not with our teams.
Yeah. Go figure.
That's the problem.
Go figure.
All right, and then finally in baseball, before we move on to football. Well, they finally figured that maybe it's not a good thing if the fans can see the balls and the sticks sticking out of the uniforms of the players. But of course, baseball can't get it done right away.
Nope, you're going to have to wait until 2025 to get the uniforms fixed.
Yep.
That's bullshit. They knew they had problems. They could have turned it around and made all the corrections. They refused to. Nike wasn't going to take the financial hit that they should have, because they fucked up to begin with.
It's Nike's fault.
Nike screwed the pooch.
That has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's not Fanatics. They produced to exact specifications the uniforms that they were told to make, to manufacture per Nike.
Yes.
And so then you've got these poor kids in the first row eating their popcorn. Daddy, what is that? Is that a trouser snake?
God. Ugh.
Daddy, he looks like he's got a couple of gobbusters in his shorts. What's going on?
Just not a good thing.
Didn't realize that a baseball game turned into a porno movie.
Where are the cups? They should be wearing cups to begin with.
All right, we'll take a break on that, but God, that's fun just to make. In this day and age, the way this world is going, the way this world is going, does this surprise you at all?
No, coming out of Nike, it doesn't surprise me. We talk all the time
about nobody proofreads.
No, there's no follow up on anything. They had the complaints, they just refused to address them.
Right. Maybe nobody will notice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, a penis or two. Who cares?
Ugh.
All right, moving on to football. First up, we're going to discuss the headlines of the week outside of the draft. And then we'll have something very special for you. And I promise it's not as special as a player bending over in those baseball uniforms. The draft was an unmitigated success in Detroit. Over 275,000 fans show up for the first round, which in and of itself was a record, but the overall total for all 3 days, over 700,000 fans attended, destroying the record.
That's crazy.
Well, I know you're
weather really helped this time too.
Yes. And I know you're not a Goodell fan, and he does a lot of stupid shit, but the man comes up with some really good ideas, and the whole idea of moving the draft around
from city to city was brilliant. Yes.
Brilliant. It's like
for every good idea he has, there's 2 or 3 shit ideas.
Well, he sits there in his office and he goes, God, please, no more videos of men beating on women, please.
Yeah.
No more Ray Rice. Please.
Oh, now it's time to put an 18th game on the schedule.
But at least he's looking at putting it so that some people, not all, some people will get that following Monday off, which we've always said. The Monday after the Super Bowl should be a holiday. So he's going to try to manipulate things.
But that doesn't do anything for the majority of the people in America.
Yeah, that's the thing. Most people don't get President's Day off.
No. The vast majority, unless you're a government worker, you're fucked anyway, so it doesn't matter. Put the damn Super Bowl on a Saturday.
That'll never happen. This is the best you're going to get. This is honestly the best you're going to get.
Or at least move it to the afternoon. You don't need 20 fucking hours of coverage. Kick off at 1.
They'll never do it. Nope. They're going to stick with what they've got. Like you said, they'll do 18 games because greed, more money. And then if they can shift it around so they can put it with President's Day, so some people get the
It's
following Monday off,
bullshit still.
and then they'll fuck NASCAR over. All right, the Eagles, after paying Devontae Smith big money, also pay A.J. Brown, disgruntled at the end of last season. They say, let's give him some money too. You get big money. You get big money.
Everybody gets big money.
A.J. Brown gets a record deal, 3 years, $96 million. So the Eagles, this is a make or break year.
All-in season.
Yes.
If they don't do anything this year, that team's getting blown up.
Absolutely agree. With Saquon Barkley now, and all the, even though Jason Kelce retired, the players they drafted, they had a very good draft.
They did. It was solid. The team will be blown up, and the coaching staff will be in for a complete
Sirianni's
overhaul.
the first one out of the door. If they don't, at least I would say they have to get to the NFC Championship.
Yeah. No, the GM has put the players in place.
Yep.
Now it's up to Sirianni and company to follow through.
Yep. New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. Our buddy Jamie pointed this out to us. I don't know how I feel about this. This seems weird. That they are going to actually allow the Guardian caps to be used in games. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Guardian caps are the big, huge foam
covers
that you put over the helmet to help lessen concussions. But, okay, you're going to cover up. Everybody's making a big deal about all these cool new helmet designs and everything.
You're going to spray over them.
You're going to cover them?
Fine.
No, it's not. See, I knew you and I would be 100% opposite on this. Let's wrap them up in bubble wrap next, Dave. This is just another step towards wrapping the players up in bubble wrap.
We're going to
get a better goddamn helmet. How about that? And if you can't make it any better,
incorporate that piece into the helmet overall.
You're putting huge styrofoam or foam shields over the helmet now. And again, one step away from putting them in bubble wrap. Flag football next. Flag football's next.
They're going to be out there in those big old sumo suits.
Yes.
Trying to flop around.
This is idiotic. This is not the same game. If you're going to these levels,
then you might as well just abolish the league.
Just quit. Now, something we in society have a big problem with that always seems to bleed into professional sports, maybe more so than anywhere else, are shootings. And after a season-ending injury with the Houston Texans, Tank Dell, one of multiple players or multiple people injured in a Florida nightclub shooting.
How the hell did a 16-year-old kid get a hold of a gun? And what the hell is a 16-year-old kid doing outside of a nightclub at that time of night?
Well, it's not the parents' fault, right, Dave?
Bullshit.
Never the parents' fault.
No.
It's the gun manufacturer's fault. Because they make these guns, and these guns just hop around and shoot people
at random.
Yeah, without anybody pulling the trigger.
Yeah, the gun sneaks down the street, jumps and pours some unsuspecting kid's hand, and automatically fires.
Yeah, never personal responsibility. Never. Yeah,
never mind that it's somebody who never should have had one, that it was an illegally gotten one.
And of course, look at what's happening on our college campuses today. The fucktards out there calling for genocide. Well, they rail against genocide and then ask for peanut-free food because the colleges are supposed to support us and supposed to take care of us.
Idiots
that's
and
my
morons.
new favorite word right now, by the way. Fucktard.
You're welcome.
Yeah. That is by far my new favorite word right now.
Yep.
Fucktard.
And I'm sorry, but you have professional protesters going onto campus and inciting stuff. You have people there for the explicit purpose to cause damages and violence. They're not even students who are getting paid to be there to do this. Yes, you have a right to peacefully protest. You do not have the damn right to destroy things and violence and interfere with other people's lives as they're trying to go about to getting to class.
I have a feeling we'll talk more about this maybe on the weekend edition, but let's get back to sports. Dallas did such a piss poor job of filling the gap with the overrated Tony Pollard leaving that they decided, let's bring back Ezekiel Elliott.
On a 1-year minimum deal.
Can I ask you something about this deal, though? It doesn't make sense to me. It's a 1-year deal. A 1-year deal. $3 million, $2 million guaranteed. So what does that mean? Does that mean that if he shows up to camp and decides he's out of shape, doesn't want to play, he gets $2 million?
Yeah.
But if he plays, he gets $3 million?
Or if they decide to keep him, he might not even have anything left in the tank.
A 1-year deal, shouldn't that be fully guaranteed?
I would have thought so.
Anyway, Travis Kelce. His girlfriend's got the top 14 goddamn songs on the Billboard charts this week. Yet somehow he found a way to negotiate a new deal for himself. 2-year, $34 million extension. Could be a little bit more. But of course, the NFL, the Chiefs were pushing for this because we all know they just want Taylor Swift
back in the box
for every possible game that's televised involving the Kansas City Chiefs. Cornerback Chris Harris Jr., 4-time Pro Bowler, retires. And then finally, before your little special treat, a little bit of pushback on that Bears $5 billion stadium plan we talked about. Governor Pritzker sounds like he's a little skeptical of the $2.3 billion in public funding that will be needed.
Yeah. Pritzker doesn't want to spend any public money on any new stadiums. And I don't blame them. They're the highest tax city, Chicago is, outside of anything in California. They still owe money on Guaranteed Rate Field. They still owe money on the Soldier Field renovation. You cannot add any more with 2 new stadiums. It's freaking ridiculous.
Now, do I think this is going to happen? Yes. I think this was always the way it was going to end up. The whole Arlington dream.
The shell game?
Yeah, that was never going to happen. This was what was always going to happen. It happens in most cities. You tear down the stadium, you build a new one right next to it.
That's what they did with Old Comiskey and New Comiskey.
All right, kids. For the next 28 minutes, you will listen to live, going back to last Thursday night, the first round.
Pre-recorded during the draft.
First time we've ever done this. Dave and I, along with the elder statesman Sam Gallia, watched the first round. We took a nice little 28-minute chunk right there when the quarterbacks were being taken around picks 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right in there.
Yeah.
So we've got that for you. Hope you enjoy it. Dave and I are nothing if not men of our words. And we promised you we were going to have a special little treat for you.
Draft night updates, baby.
Now, we have not done anything like this. We'd have to go back to our old YouTube days when we actually recorded video of us watching a NASCAR race. And, of course, we have a special guest with us.
The elder statesman is joining us tonight. The man with a reputation to protect.
It's going downhill already.
So we are into the almost halfway, getting close to halfway in the draft.
Yep, we're waiting for the Denver number 12 pick to be announced. The Bears have already been through the 1st and 9th, and they nailed it. Caleb Williams, number 1.
And Rome Odunze dropped to us at number 9 because of the first unbelievable, shocking moment in the draft. It was going fairly according to numbers.
Yep.
First pick, second pick, third pick, fourth pick, fifth pick.
Until Atlanta.
You get to Atlanta at 8. It looked like we were hosed because Joe Alt went at 5 to the Chargers. We lost another shot at an offensive lineman, and it was like, we're going to get screwed. The Falcons are going to take Rome at 8.
But no, they go with Penix.
They draft a quarterback despite the fact they just gave Kirk Cousins a ton of money.
Oh!
And we just got the 6th quarterback taking in the first 12 picks.
Yep, Bo Nix to Denver.
And this is after Minnesota moved up from 11 to 10.
We don't know what they traded away yet.
Right.
We don't
We
know.
do not know the
They traded up one spot to get J.J. McCarthy.
Now, we go with history and talk about the Bears going up one spot.
For Mitch Trubisky, yes. You have every right to bring that up. That's all right. You're not going to harsh our mellow, mister, because we are happy.
Hey, 1 out of 10 years I give it.
Now, of course, if you guys don't remember, we've referenced it many times on the podcast. Sam is a huge Lions fan. So he's decked out in his Lions gear, waiting. Going to be waiting for a while because his team's success last year means they're drafting at the end of the first round. What are you looking for, Sam? What do you want for the Lions?
Back.
Defensive back? You always want defensive back.
As
long as I've known you, you've wanted a defensive back.
They go through like water. That's fine. They have to have a defensive back.
But yeah, last night, because we're, of course, taping this on April the 25th, last night when Dave and I did the regular podcast, I told you people 6 quarterbacks in the first round, but I did not expect 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks. Wow.
Yeah, that's just absolutely crazy.
But again, the Penix pick at 8 by Atlanta just blows me away. It is one of the most bizarre picks I think I've ever seen in all my years of watching football.
Yeah, just unbelievable, but
Unless
thank you.
Kirk Cousins didn't heal the way we think he healed.
But how much guaranteed money did you give a guy who's never going to be able to play again?
If he
Because
didn't heal right, if he didn't heal
Unless
100%.
they think they're only going to get a year out of him.
well, that's a speculation we're hearing from the experts as we watch that there could be something wrong, maybe a setback with Cousins. But that is still a
Potentially.
lot of guaranteed money to give him,
Yeah.
and then he never sees the light of day and never plays for you. There's got to be something going on behind the scenes. That's the only explanation. 'Cause I have never ever seen anything like this.
Yeah.
But this is a
Amazing.
ridiculous run on quarterbacks. Just a few weeks ago, we were hearing Bo Nix, Penix would be available in the second round.
Maybe third, possibly.
Yeah, some had at least Bo Nix
Drop it
slotted
down
in the third. And now they all go McCarthy, Nix, Penix, and of course the top 3, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels.
There they are.
And there is your record as they confirm it as we watch.
1, 2, 3, 8, 10, 12.
Fewest overall picks for 6 quarterbacks to be selected in NFL draft history. Now the question is, which one of those, if if one or more, how many actually are successful? I tell you what, I've been talking Penix up for months and months. I tell you right now, he's failure. This situation is terrible
It's not
for
a
him.
good situation.
He needed to go to the Raiders or the Broncos.
If he sits behind Cousins has been a smart quarterback who can tutor him and make sure he's ready to go.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite because I'm always the one saying,
Let him sit.
let him sit and learn. We saw it with Mahomes. We saw it with Rodgers. We saw it with Jordan Love.
There you go.
And
Brock
so,
Bowers to the
unbelievable.
Raiders.
Didn't they just take Notre Dame's tight end last year? Right? In the second round.
Yeah, they did.
So another bizarre pick. Of course, the Jets have been trading back. Well, they traded back one slot with the Vikings who panicked to get J.J. McCarthy. Then they skipped on Bowers, who everybody thought the Jets wanted.
Yeah, and they went with an offensive tackle.
And now Brock Bowers goes to the Raiders, who just drafted a tight end in the second round last year.
Man.
It's, boy, some of these teams, you wonder who's, usually it's the Bears who I'm questioning. But some of these teams, you wonder what they're thinking. This is the Bears philosophy. You have two top-level tight ends, I guess.
I guess.
So now we're heading to New Orleans with the 14th pick, but all the big names are now officially gone. Now we get into the second tier of superstars.
We haven't had a defensive pick yet, have we?
You know what? I don't know if we have.
No.
The Alabama corner is still sitting out there.
There's a couple edge rushers too.
Yeah.
There's some
There
good
you go.
defensive guys out there.
Best available
Dallas
right now,
Turner.
Dallas Turner, edge rusher from Bama.
This seems to me is the time
Latanu.
for a defensive pick right now.
Because all the offensive guys are gone. The first 13 picks were all offense.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember what the record is. They've been talking about it all day. The record for most offensive players taken in the first round in history. I think it's either 16 or 19. One of those two numbers is stuck in my head. But we've already got 13.
Yeah, they're not done yet.
I think this is going to be a defensive pick.
Well, good news, the Colts are coming up at 15. They should get a high-level defensive player.
Yeah.
And they need that. I mean, they need a lot of help, but they've got their quarterback of the future. They've got their running back. They've got a top-level wide receiver. So you would think they would need defensive help. But again, Dave and I are absolutely ecstatic about the fact that the Bears did not fuck this up. Yes, we curse on this, Sam. It's politically incorrect. So feel free to let go.
Gosh.
Gosh darn it. Drat.
Son of a sea biscuit.
But going back to the quarterbacks, I do not like Panic's situation now, so I downgrade him. I don't like McCarthy. I downgrade him. Of course, Caleb Williams is going to end up being one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. We know that.
Not Chicago, but
What did I say when this draft
Hey.
started? What did I say when this draft started? Sam was going to be mad because after we drafted Caleb Williams, and I figured the Vikings were going to trade up to get either Drake May or J.J. McCarthy. And then you've got Jordan Love. He's just mad because now with Jared Goff,
is
he's
the
got
worst quarterback
he's got the
in
worst
division.
quarterback in the North.
definitely have the oldest.
Yeah, but have you seen his fiance?
Yeah, I saw it. I did see it.
Yeah, she's
Yikes.
pretty.
Yikes. Yeah, I saw a story today where he's talking about, yeah, we're working on our wedding plan, so, I can't really focus on what they're going to do in the draft right now. Yeah, I'd focus on her too if I was him.
Well,
Dave's
he
Dolphins
is
are
Hollywood Goff.
Yeah, he did come from
He
Hollywood. so
Does look a bit like Ryan Gosling.
well, yeah, he went to college out there,
Yep.
drafted by the Rams, so he does have that Hollywood vibe. You're right, and these football players cannot go out there in California without having the eye candy.
That's right.
That's being just an embarrassment beyond belief. So Bucks at 26 coming up, Dolphins at 21. So much for those wild rumors about
Moving up.
Penix
Yeah.
going to the Dolphins. But now I'm wondering if it was such a crazy rumor, if the Falcons did it with Kirk Cousins,
Yeah.
the Dolphins could have pulled it with Tua. And
Yeah.
they don't have the financial commitment to Tua.
No, they don't. So this. Whew.
So what do you want for the Dolphins at 21?
Oh man. We could use another edge rusher. We could use some offensive line help. We've let a few of those guys go in the off season. Didn't re-sign, so we've got to start rebuilding.
Yeah, I think the Bucks need some replenishments on the defensive side as well. And see, the Bucks are kind of in quarterback hell right now because I don't think Mayfield is that level quarterback to take them beyond maybe the first round of the playoffs.
Halfway. I agree with you. He's adequate, but he's not a long-term option. It's going to get you to the elite levels of the NFL.
No, I think they settled. I think they said we got to ride him for a couple years until we can get into a position to draft the next franchise quarterback.
And looking way on down the line, what do you want for the Lions?
Oh, he said he wants defensive back.
Or, I do have an or on that.
Oh, okay. Sam equivocating. Oh, my gosh,
They
shocking.
need a wide receiver, too. They need a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did say that earlier.
But I don't know if there'll be any left. I mean,
Well, no, it's very deep.
This is a very deep wide receiver
Okay,
class.
well, if there's a wide, that'd be a big choice. If there's a wide receiver left that's good.
Because you got LSU's second receiver sitting out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know
Is
if
it
he's the
Johnson?
next one off the board, but if he's not, he's
He's
two.
close.
He's 1B if he's not 1A. I guess I don't hate the Jets pick all that much. Like I said, tackle from Penn State. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I've had a couple beers. That was the guy that some people were saying if the Bears could not get Joe Alt, could not get Adunze, that was going to be their fallback pick at 9.
Yeah, which would have been a good one.
Yeah.
I would have been happy with that too.
Yeah. And of course, we're watching on ESPN with the biggest wuss bag of all time, Mike Greenberg.
Why the hell is he still on the air?
I don't know. But then we have the brilliance of Lance Reddick, who Dave and I have always said would be our general manager
Absolutely.
if we ever had a team, which we should. Don't worry, Sam. We'd find, a bucket for you. And of course, we talked about the quirks of Mel Kiper Jr. last night on the podcast. And then Booger's dressed in his Denver Broncos colors.
Yep.
What are the Saints going to go for? I think the Saints are going to go defense.
They could go receiver.
They could.
Because I think they finally let Michael Thomas go after years and years of flushing money down the toilet on him. I mean, they've got Olave on the one side. And then
they need somebody else who's reliable. Thomas is
they
been
have
a
a lot of
disaster.
pieces, so it's really
they're in cap hell. They've got a lot of guys who are overpaid. Quarterback being one of them. Derek Carr. I used to like him a lot when he was with Oakland, when they were Oakland.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be really good. I really did.
He had the 1 year. He had the 1 year where he was in the talks for MVP, and then he got injured.
Yeah, he's not really come back.
Nope.
No, and he hasn't had anybody believe in him after that either.
No, because the Raiders never
They couldn't
really
wait to get him out of town.
Right. There's your defense. Well, defense.
Offensive
tackle.
Oh, sorry. This is what I get for not wearing my glasses.
Yeah.
Oregon State.
Offensive tackle.
Well, they needed everything. I can't.
So now we're up to 14.
Yeah.
The first 14 picks, all offense. Sorry, I thought I saw DT.
We're,
you got me all worked up about the defense, Sam.
I
We're,
can't believe
we're getting close. We're 2 away from tying the record.
Well, you definitely will.
So it was 16. It's either
I think
16
so.
or 19. I'm not sure which.
We will do some investigative research.
So now the Colts have their pick of defensive players.
Yeah, nobody's been taken, so.
Then after the Colts, we have Seattle and Jacksonville. Of course, as I mentioned, special coverage here on Spotify, Pocket Casts, Amazon. You know the drill. You know everywhere you can find Sports Frenzy 2.0. Of course, forget about Google. No longer in service. But still plenty of options for you. But we figured this would be a good time right in the heart of the middle of the first round to recap all the quarterback picks. I don't think the Colts need a wide receiver. I think they're kind of happy with what they've got. So I definitely think this could be your first defensive pick.
The record is 19, which happened 3 times, most recently in 2009.
That's for the whole first round?
19 offensive players total.
You'll make that.
And we're at 14 right now.
USA Today Sports mock draft by Nate Davis projects 23 offensive players in the first round for this year.
Wow.
But he was already wrong because including 4 in the top 5 with 1 tight end. So that just got blown out of the water.
After the Colts, we got the Seahawks and the Jaguars. Here's where we're going to go on just for a few more minutes. Again, just giving you a little taste of what we do every year as Sports Frenzy always gets together for the NFL draft and then, of course, for the fantasy football draft.
Which is more important.
Yeah, I find you infuriating sometimes. You know that? Because you love the fantasy football stuff, yet every time we start baseball season, I inevitably, within the first couple, 2-3 weeks, I'm going to get an email from Sam. Did I ever mention I hate picky baseball?
You'll get 10 picks from me pretty quick.
Yeah, he used to pick the entire season up front, all 26 weeks. He would send me a list of 26 teams. He would just cycle through.
Just boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
I picked that one already, can't you?
So now at least he's putting in the effort and waiting and maybe doing a little research on baseball.
It's early in the season yet.
Well, you haven't been finishing last.
Nope.
We leave that for Doug.
Yep.
And by the way, switch to NASCAR real quick. Have you noticed how the last month he has made up a ton of ground
I noticed that.
when he was absolutely buried?
He's buried there for a while.
He was back in the 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, there
And
were
he's-
part-time drivers that had more points than him. Seriously. And now he's within about 25 points, I think, of getting into the top 10.
Yeah.
See?
It can happen.
We don't need Bill
Frickin'
whining and crying, but we need to
Bubba
change the
Dan
rules.
Wallace getting punted by Joe Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, you took a bit of a tumble on that one.
Yeah, that hurt. One
Because
freaking
Jen
point.
moved ahead of you. Yeah. But now the danger races are gone for a while, so
Yeah, those.
super speedways, they're just
It's a
crapshoot.
crapshoot.
They're just crapshoots. Oh, did rumblings and rumors in NASCAR. I know we're doing a draft special, but here we're talking a little bit of everything. We never get Sam on the podcast, so and he is a big NASCAR guy like Dave and I.
I have
Rumblings?
one, you don't have
Rumblings and rumors that I read today. Because of the fuel mileage issues that kind of dampen the excitement of the super speedways, they're talking about setting it up like the Coca-Cola 600 with 4 stages.
Oh no!
So the fuel stuff is out the
one.
window.
No,
Yes.
just stop. I'm fine with points at the stages, but stop throwing a mandatory caution at the end of a stage. Make them continue running.
Yeah, they did that for last year, 1 year with the road courses, and that was it.
And they stopped it this year.
Yeah,
I
now
hate
it's back
the
to
mandatory
yeah.
caution at the
Yeah,
end
did
of the
you hear about
stage.
the-
Let them keep going.
The other thing that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is talking about, blocking. He's recommending a new blocking group, especially for the super speedways.
Oh, because McDowell?
Yeah,
Because
you're saying you can only make 2 blocks during the race.
How are you going to legislate that?
That's ridiculous.
I don't know. They said that's what they do. That's what they do in.
I knew there was a reason I
Formula
hated
One.
him.
They do that in Formula One. I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do
you do it in Formula
regulate
One, you only have 2
blocking in
blocks.
Formula
If you
One.
get the 3rd block, you get penalized.
But that's why Formula One sucks.
Well, I agree.
Well, what?
I
Let's
actually like
go
it.
ahead because we over-regulate and over-legislate everything in this world. So why not just do it in racing and all sports? Because LeBron James had his way in basketball. We review every play that he's involved in.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
He is such a wine bag. God, he's a wine bag. I can't wait for the Nuggets to eliminate him. And then we get to wait on the draft on the NBA
I
side.
can't wait till he retires and we don't have to listen to him.
Yeah, but the problem with that is
Oh, they're going to put him in the booth.
no. Worse. When he retires, they are going to make a push. I'm surprised you guys didn't know this. They're going to make a push to put him in as a part owner of a new Las Vegas franchise.
Oh, God.
Oh, I believe you. I would guess he's going to
Yeah.
be a part owner or something. Yeah.
The minute he retires, they're going to push for expansion, and they're going to try to put a team in Vegas, and he's going to be part owner. That's been around for about a year, I think,
Yeah.
at least.
Well, I tried to push that out of my memory.
Colts are up.
There's your
There's
first
a-
defensive
Hey, a
player.
defensive
at
player
15.
goes.
He's a good head rushers too.
Well, he should be. He's the first defensive player
Yeah.
off the board.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about Anthony Richardson. I know we only got a very small sampling of him last year before he got hurt. That's the thing I'm worried about. He got hurt twice in his rookie year.
Yeah.
Couldn't even get halfway through the season.
What, concussion and then shoulder?
Yeah, how long is he going to last? And I can't remember for the life of me who the Colts have got as a backup now because Minshew's gone.
Yeah.
Minshew's in Las Vegas now.
Yeah. And Latu here, he was told to retire medically because of his neck issue.
Oh, I didn't hear
So
that.
how long are you going to actually have him?
Yeah, they've talked about that with the Giants. They've talked about that with Daniel Jones
Yeah.
in that he's got neck issues. We might have a 4th guest for a couple minutes joining us. Oh, no. Mrs. C gives us a veto.
Yeah, no, she's on her way to pick up a child from work.
Oh, gotcha. Maybe another time, kids. You'll be experiencing the golden pipes of Mrs. C another time. All right, just a couple minutes left. Seattle is on the clock. I think they need a lot of help.
Almost everywhere.
And I
Yeah.
still don't like the way they got rid of Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll didn't do anything wrong.
I was surprised. I
Yeah,
don't
and
like
he wanted to. By all accounts, he wanted to keep coaching.
Yeah, I don't like Pete Carroll, but I understand why they had him as a coach. I don't understand why they got rid of him. It didn't make much sense to me.
No, and
It was a change. They made the change for the sake of change.
they were another team that nobody was talking about at 16 here. They
That
could have been in
could've
play
jumped
for a
up.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about them. Geno Smith is not going to be there for 5 or 6 years.
No, they're going to have to get somebody next year.
Well, this is a make or break year for a lot of quarterbacks. Like Kyler Murray has got to start doing something in
He does.
Arizona.
He's got the talent that he hasn't shown it.
Yep. What about Dak Prescott? I don't understand why the Cowboys continue to keep falling back on him.
How great? I don't see it.
He's okay.
Yeah.
He's not spectacular in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So now, not only do you have all these young quarterbacks, And then, of course, the second tier of young quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence. We just talked about Anthony Richardson. Those kids have got to start proving themselves. Lawrence has got to start proving himself.
Pittsburgh's going to have to seriously consider a quarterback in the next year or two.
I just don't understand not locking Fields up for that extra year.
That 25 mil?
Would it have been 25?
Yep. That's
Okay,
probably why.
I thought it was going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 or 9.
No, it was 25
Okay,
million.
well, you can't do that.
So now you wait and then negotiate at a lower amount.
Yeah, because the backups this year we're getting about 8, 9, 10 million.
Yeah.
The good ones. So we'll stick here through Jacksonville's pick, and then we will bid you a fond adieu. But we just figured this would be fun to plop in the middle of next week's podcast. And I know you guys are going to be bugging us. Where can we get more of the elder statesman? Does he have an agent? Can we contact that agent and get him on our show?
No.
Because he's really better than you guys. It's beneath him to be on your podcast. Oh, well, it looks like ESPN is going to drag things out here, so we're not going to get the Seattle pick in time.
Yeah, they're holding it off for a commercial.
All right.
But alas.
Dave and I will be back with you next week. We'll give you some more insight.
We're with you next week.
Say goodnight to the kids, Sam.
Good night, kids.
All right, everybody. So we hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of insight into how the brains here work at Sports Frenzy. Sam and Dave and I, the 3 oldest tenured members of Sports Frenzy, going all the way back to the 1990s.
Yep.
Cable access TV.
Cue Wayne and Garth going.
Yeah,
we had fun.
We had a blast doing it on TV.
We did.
As much as we enjoy doing the podcast,
I missed filming the intros.
Yes, we had a combination of Saturday Night Live and sports commentary. Same politically incorrect, even back then.
Yep.
Same politically incorrect stuff 30 years ago that you're hearing now. Loved it. But then we actually got to do an opening skit.
Yeah. Oh my God. The skits were the most fun.
Just imagine Saturday Night Live, instead of making fun of Donald Trump, we would make fun of all the idiots in the world of sports. But Sam and Dave and I were the first 3 on board. Now, there are other guys that came and went.
Yeah.
But good to get the 3 of us together again, as we do every year for the draft. And you guys now get to hear the magic. You get to see what's going on behind the curtain.
That's right. It was a good time.
All right, Dave does not want to delve too far more into the draft. I can't blame him. You guys know who got picked. We've already, in that previous segment, discussed most of it.
We hit the big
I do want to point out
round.
that Dave is ecstatic about the fact the Bears drafted a punter in the 4th round.
Listening to a lot of different things, I heard it wouldn't have surprised people if he would have gone in the 3rd round.
Oh, stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Oh, my God. That's a punter.
I just telling you what I had been hearing leading up to the
What did I
draft.
say?
He better be the second coming of Ray Guy.
Because we could have got a backup offensive lineman, somebody to add depth to either the O-line or the D-line, and we took a goddamn punter in the 4th round.
We wound up getting somebody for the O-line and the D-line.
I'm 10 years from now, when we don't have any cake and we're talking on Sports Frenzy 2.0 in 2034.
This kid better still be
Dave
kicking.
will be going, yeah, God damn it, I was right about that punter. I fucking told you so. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Couple little numbers, couple little stats to throw at you before we move on. Because Dave can't wait to talk about who's out in the NBA playoffs. But I would like to point out, we do our research, we do our homework, we do the best we can to be as accurate as possible. Very rarely do we make mistakes, right?
It's not
And
very
we own
often.
up. We own up to
We
what we
own
do.
up when we are
I want Yahoo.
factually
I
incorrect.
want Yahoo to own up to their goddamn mistakes. Because you and I, what were we doing last Thursday night? We were watching to see how many offensive players were drafted, weren't we?
Yes, we were.
Because we knew what the record was, and we knew what had to be matched or surpassed. So Dave and I knew how many offensive players got drafted in the first round. Next morning, I open up my email and get my morning Yahoo newsletter, Yahoo Sports newsletter, and they fucked it up. They come out and they say a record 20 offensive players were taken in round one. No, it was 23.
Yes.
23 players were taken in the first round on the offensive side of the ball. Yahoo fucked that up.
4 more than the previous record of 19, which had been done on 3 different occasions.
Again, this is why you should stick with us. Us! You don't need ESPN, you don't need Yahoo, because they're not all that in a bag of chips. We are. But that wasn't even the worst, most egregious offense that they committed in their Friday morning newsletter last week. They were talking about, of course, what players were drafted from what teams, right? How many players were drafted from this school and that school? And they made a big deal about pointing out Washington, of course.
Right.
We got Rome Odunze from Washington.
Atlanta picked up Michael Penix Jr.
And of course, Yahoo says, well, this is a really interesting development considering the fact that next year Washington is joining the Pac-12. And
I believe Washington just left the Pac-12.
I had to reread that 5 times.
Oh my God.
And they never corrected it. They never corrected either one of those mistakes.
Oh, that's pathetic. That is bad.
And they usually put out a fantastic plethora of stats every morning. These 2 errors were so pathetic.
That's very egregious.
Almost wanted to make them dumbasses of the week for these 2. But yeah, Washington joining the Pac-12. Yeah. I think they were a member.
They left the Pac-12 to join the Big Ten next year.
Now, one last thing, because I think you'll appreciate this. Now, this is another stat I got from Yahoo. So again, they turn things around. They turn things around after their egregious mistakes. Maybe they redeem themselves a little bit. Week 1 starters from 2019 to 2023. By round. By round, they were drafted. Now, you would be shocked. In terms of drafted players, and when I say shocked, I'm being facetious. Now, round 1, most. Round 2, second. Round 3, third. Fourth, fifth, sixth. I mean, it's literally follows from 1 to 7, except in between rounds 3 and 4. In between rounds 3 and 4, where you've got that nice steady progression where everybody goes, see, this is why these guys get drafted where they get drafted. See how the percentages drop? Except between rounds 3 and 4. Between 2019 and 2023, over 12% of the starters undrafted free agents. So the argument can be made that once you're done with the 3rd round picks,
then it's all just a crapshoot.
Yeah. Because the undrafted free agents start more based on the last 5 years than rounds 4 through 7. How about that?
Wow.
So maybe Sam Hartman has a future.
Maybe. So you're saying there's a chance.
All right, Dave. Your buddy's out of the playoffs. How are you going to go on? The NBA playoffs.
The only thing I was paying attention to for the playoffs was to see the Lakers get ousted in the first round once again.
Well, they won a game. They won a game.
They did win a game.
And now, of course, all the rumors are swirling about, will they draft Bronny just to keep LeBron happy?
Does anybody really care outside of LA?
And we've got more on father-son idiocy when it comes to athletics coming up later. But another cool stat. I've got another cool stat for you involving your buddy LeBron. This will be the first time since 2005 that Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James, none of them make it to the second round.
Wow.
19 years. 19 years.
That's tells you that Father Time is catching up with them.
Yep, and it's time. A lot of people see that stat, and I heard some stories about now it's time for the young guns to step up.
Yep.
Sorry, John Morant. When I say guns, I don't literally mean guns.
It's time for the young talent to rise.
Talk about a guy who's pissed his career away.
Yep. Idiot.
But we're talking about, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We're talking about guys like that. The next wave has got to step up now. Now, of course, the NBA meets out their awards once every 3 weeks, it seems like. So this week's award was Coach of the Year. And I was talking just here a minute ago about the Thunder, the OKC Thunder. So Mark Daigneault was voted in as Coach of the Year. Very worthy.
All righty.
Another very, very good coach who was up there at the top of the voting. Went under the knife today. Poor Chris Finch.
Man,
Chris Finch has jumped around from team to team to team, finally finds a nice landing spot where he has meshed well with the players in Minnesota.
And he gets taken out on the sidelines during the game.
By one of his own players.
Ugh.
Torn patellar tendon, has to undergo surgery. Might have to sit in the locker room in the back at the beginning of the next round in the Western Conference. Basically talking on a headphone
to the assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Unbelievable bad luck.
Yeah.
Unbelievable bad luck. Now the T-Wolves did sweep the Suns. How about that for a failed experiment in Phoenix?
Yeah,
you bring
the
Kevin
new
Durant,
super team.
Yeah, you had Kevin Durant, you had Devin Booker, you had Bradley Beal, and you got swept out in the first round.
And
Could
now
it be the rumors,
because the coach didn't know how to use the team?
Well, but Dave, they had Monty Williams. How about that? Again, something we referenced a few months ago. That was just a lose-lose.
Yeah, there was no way that was going to fly.
Monty's got nothing in Detroit.
No, that's a train wreck.
If he'd stayed with Phoenix with this new configuration, maybe they would have been better.
Potentially.
And then the Thunder, we talked about Mark Daigneault. They sweep the Pelicans. So in the West, you've already got 3 of the 4 teams set for the next round. You've got the OKC Thunder, you've got the Nuggets, you've got The Timberwolves were waiting on the Clippers
Yeah.
and the Mavericks.
Let's see how
In the
that.
East, it's all kind of like dogfights right now. The Magic and the Cavs, nobody can win on the road. So next game up, Game 6 in Orlando. I imagine the Magic win and force a Game 7 in Cleveland. They
Yeah, we'll
almost
have to
won.
see.
They almost won Game 5 in Cleveland. Almost. They lost by one goddamn point. And Banchero finally showed up and had that star-making game.
Yeah. Now let's see if it carries over.
Yeah, they cannot let down. They cannot let down at home. They need to dominate at home, force that Game 7. Philly, they come back, had a bad seed because, of course, the injury to Joel Embiid. They lost a lot of games without him. Now he's back, and now they're making life miserable for the Knicks.
That's all right.
So now they're going to Game 6 in Philly. Philly down 3-2. That could go Game 7.
The potential is there.
Celtics having issues with the Heat, even without Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah, they're up 3-1. They're playing now as we tape this, and it's in the second, and right now the Celtics are up 47-25.
Okay, so that'll probably end.
Yeah, without Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah. So we'll see where all this ends up. Of course, the Pacers and the Bucks. The Bucks go without Giannis and without Damian Lillard and end up blowing the Pacers out. How the hell do you figure that?
Happen? How does that happen?
The Pacers are gonna botch this somehow. They're gonna figure out a way to botch this.
They've got it.
How do you lose a game when the top two scorers on the other team are out?
That's absolutely
Rick
awful.
Carlisle is a great head coach, but that game could end up coming back to bite them in the ass. Hockey? Do we care?
Not really.
About the Blackhawks? Right now we've got...
Ovechkin shouldered the blame for the Capitals being knocked out. He did not score a point. The first time in his career in the playoffs, he was held scoreless.
Yep. Yeah, is it inevitable in the East with the Carolina Hurricane and the Rangers? We still got the Panthers out there, too. In the West,
Yeah.
The Avalanche have moved on. The rest of the series are still waiting to be decided. The Kraken fired their first head coach, Dave Hackstall, 3 years in. No patience. No patience.
None at all. Well, that's because Vegas came out like a ball of fire. And Seattle thought, oh, we can have that kind of success. It doesn't always work that way.
Yep. Now, in the WNBA, I know we're still talking women's sports. Look how progressive we are, Dave. Forward thinking, always taking into consideration all sexes, genders, races, creeds, colors, sexual orientation.
Anyway.
Sorry. WNBA legend Candace Parker retires after 16 seasons.
Okay.
All right. No, I'm moving on. Sorry. The whole Trump thing, not getting into politics, but the whole Trump trial, did you hear about what came out in the initial days here of the Trump trial?
I've been mostly ignoring it, so no, I have
Because
not.
again, this is a sports podcast. The hush money deal, in a roundabout way, involved the National Enquirer, I guess. They were one of the... Okay. It came out during the trial that the National Enquirer actually buried, quote-unquote, blackmail pictures from before 2009 of Tiger Woods with his mistress. They buried him so they could blackmail him into appearing on the cover of Men's Fitness magazine.
Wow.
They told Tiger Woods they would bury those pictures in exchange for him on the cover of Men's Fitness magazine.
Wow. Why? That doesn't shock me at all.
The money you could have gotten from selling issues of the National Enquirer with Tiger Woods in a car with his mistress? You're telling me putting him on the cover of Men's Fitness magazine made you more money than that? You're out of your goddamn mind. I hope whoever was running the National Enquirer back then has been fired.
No kidding. That was a monster mistake. Ugh.
But again, once again, your paragon of virtue, you sycophants, you Tiger Woods sycophants, yet another reason that he is the devil incarnate. And you keep kissing his ass and showing him every weekend on the Golf Channel and on CBS and on NBC.
Oh, we can't wait for him to play in his one tournament every month.
And fail miserably. And fail goddamn miserably.
Ugh, so
He
tired of
did it to himself, people.
You cannot feel sorry for him.
This is not father time eroding his skills. He did this to himself. I've always said, if you are a prime level athlete, 17, 18, 19 years old, you should wrap yourself in bubble wrap. Stay away from the hookers. Stay away from the guns. Stay away from the drugs. Wait till you're 40 and then go to town. Sleep with 15 porno stars when you're 41. But for the love of God, you are just killing the cash cow. You're killing your reputation as a potential Hall of Fame or all-time great when you do what Tiger Woods did, what O.J. Simpson did, what LeBron James does with his whining and bitching and pissing and moaning. Take a lesson from these idiots. Don't be like them. Yet you still will.
Because
Ja Morant.
You can't get out of your own damn way.
Drives me insane. Drives me insane. Doesn't drive me nuts, but drives me insane. All right, in the media news for the week. Hate to see this. Big changes coming to the NFL today. CBS's pregame football show every Sunday. My man, Boomer Esiason, leaving along with Phil Simms.
They are out. In comes Matt Ryan and J.J. Watt.
Do your little duck call thing. I love that. That's how I feel about that. You take two of the smartest guys analyzing football and you replace them with two fucktards.
Yeah.
No, we can't get rid of Nate Burleson, though, because he does Nickelodeon.
And he's on CBS Morning Show, and we got to keep everything continuous. No, you don't. Nobody who watches CBS Morning is going to give a shit that he is on
This is the
NFL
same crap
today.
that Fox does with Michael Strahan.
Yeah. Not needed. Not needed.
Oh, but Dave, ESPN, oh boy, they got a coup. They made a big, huge signing. The man who can't find his Super Bowl ring in a kiddie pool of chili is coming to Monday Night Football Countdown. Jason Kelce. Keep your shirt on, buddy. Keep your shirt on.
That could be entertaining, though.
I don't know.
It could be.
I don't know about that.
We'll see.
Again, you are much nicer than I am.
We'll see what a train wreck it becomes. We'll see if it's the second coming of Romo.
Oh, God. Oh, couldn't be that bad. if he does take his shirt off and prance around with a beer, that's still more entertaining than Tony Romo. And he'll still be more coherent. Even if he's 10 beers in, he's still more coherent than Tony Romo.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, I think in this situation, Jim, that they need to run a bootleg off tackle to the right. Unless there's an opening up the seam, then you have to hit the tight end going across. What?
He's just covering all his bases, Dave.
Make a statement and stick with it, dumbass.
Then, of course, we just finished up with the NBA a few minutes ago. I guess there's a demand. I guess somehow, some way there's a demand, because now rumor is the media deal is ending next year. The 24-25 season is the last year in the current media deal for the NBA.
Yep.
Now, ESPN is locked in. They love ESPN. ESPN's not going anywhere. That should tell you something right there. But the whole TBS TNT situation, believe it or not, after 2 decades, NBC wants back in. So NBC is throwing a ton of money at the NBA. They want to replace TBS and TNT as that second partner.
To
along
put
with
everything on
ESPN.
Peacock.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, Peacock's going up, by the way. We'll talk about that on the weekend edition. Peacock's going up. Of course it is.
For shit
Yeah,
content.
watch what
To pay
happens
for
in a
the
year.
sports.
You watch what happens in a year, because they're going to lose the WWE. You watch what happens. This is all bullshit, because what happens is they lose all the WWE content in a year to Netflix, because Netflix is already getting Raw. So you can't show the repeats of Raw. Netflix is going to own those. Guaranteed, Netflix is going to just migrate that entire catalog over to them.
Oh, yeah.
And then Peacock's going, well,
We got the NBA.
we've still got soccer and La Liga and F1. They will crash and burn without the WWE. I'm just telling you. Amazon, of course, a third player in everything. Amazon's a third player
Just
in
keep
everything.
sports off the streaming platforms. All right. After all that, it's time to transition to NASCAR here on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
Otherwise, of course, known as iHeartRadio. Do not forget, of course, to check out the Facebook page. Weekly, we will post our panel's baseball picks, our
Harumph.
panel's NASCAR picks, and when we get to the fall, of course, weekly, our football picks, college and pro. Now, can I digress for a second?
Sure, we can do that.
Because there are times when I forget, and I don't want to forget if I have a chance. I have a Clint Eastwood Badass of the Week.
All right. Before we forget, go.
You're going to laugh at me.
When don't I?
I am naming my Clint Eastwood Badass of the Week as one Patrick Mahomes. And I will tell you why. Because Raw, Monday Night Raw, WWE was in Kansas City this past Monday night. Yes, he and a couple of his boys from the Chiefs made an appearance. That in and of itself doesn't warrant this. But despite all the stupidity around him, his wife, his brother, he somehow manages to figure out a way to make me respect him more. He does not side with the good guys on Monday Night Raw. He actually gives supposedly all 3 of his Super Bowl rings to Logan Paul, the United States champion, who usually cheats and uses brass knuckles.
Yeah. So he used the rings instead of the knuckles.
Logan Paul goes over to the side, to the front row, and Mahomes gives him the 3 rings, and then he goes out and pops J.D. McDonough accidentally in the head.
Oh, accidentally?
Yeah. But I give Pat Mahomes credit. Don't side with the good guys, side with the heels. And for that and that alone, he once again somehow stays away from all the controversy and stupidity of his family and friends.
He does his thing, and
He relishes his dad bod.
yeah,
He
you see
gets it.
the new beer T-shirt, the 6-pack.
Yeah, he gets it. He will not let these other people influence him.
No,
He gets it. And for that, I love the guy. I love Patrick Mahomes. I hate the rest of the Chiefs.
yeah, but Mahomes, you have to respect. He goes about it and does things the right way.
Yep. So he is my Clint Eastwood badass of the week.
And he also distances himself from the stupidity of his family.
Yes.
Does not get in the middle of anything.
Yes. Smart man.
Yes.
Very smart man.
Yes, he is.
Now, I know we talked about the NFL draft. Just one thing I wanted to point out, not necessarily about the draft per se. Now, kudos to locally Notre Dame. 7 players picked in the draft.
There you go.
A lot of others signed as undrafted free agents. But now the guy that we were talking about, if he slipped to us, now we're happy with Rome Odunze. We're extremely happy.
Thrilled.
But if Joe Alt
would have dropped to 9, you would have had to take him.
Did you see the video of him and his girlfriend?
He was not. He did not look happy at being drafted by the Chargers.
She looked scary.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. You can do better than this. She has got these huge freaking bug eyes. You guys have got to go out and find the video when Joe Alt is picked by the Chargers. Like Dave said, number one, he doesn't look all that happy.
No.
But his girlfriend, wow. I mean, she looks like a freaking cricket.
Wow.
People were online saying, blink twice if you need help. Because her eyes were just bugged out and she did not blink through the whole thing. Sorry, just had to get that in.
There you go.
Had to get that in. So what time is it, Dave? I fucked it up last week, so I'll let you guide the way now.
We already said we're discussing NASCAR, so
yes. Just don't let me skip the picks.
Yeah.
Like last week.
So, Dover, the Monster Mile, was not monstrously exciting.
Not really. No.
It's another. After we started off with some really good racing, we're now in a rut where it's been
Yep. Kyle Busch had the pole, but Denny Hamlin ends up winning his 3rd win of the year, his 54th career Cup victory.
Good for Happy Jack.
Yeah, so that's about it for NASCAR until we get to our picks for Kansas City. We got the IndyCar scandal to discuss.
The push to pass. Oh, what were the engineers at Penske doing?
3 drivers penalized, including Joseph Newgarden, stripped of his win at St. Petersburg. Scott McLaughlin DQ'd due to manipulations of
the push to pass system. It was supposed to be set up on all cars that race control can disconnect it so it can't be used on restarts. But Penske, for whatever they were using it in testing or whatever, and didn't reset it so it could be turned off. And for that, they got hammered. Newgarden and one of the other guys actually used it.
That was McLaughlin,
and McLaughlin actually used it. Their teammate did not,
Right.
and he still got docked
He
points.
got dinged a couple points. Yeah, he got dinged, I think, 10
because
points.
because it wasn't regulated. The others, they had proof they used it on the restarts. He didn't, which is why he didn't get hit as hard.
Yep.
But
and
still,
it took him how
stupid
many
overlook.
weeks to figure this out?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Because this happened
Seriously?
in the opening race of the season, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't figure it out until 3 races in.
That's pathetic in and of itself, too.
All right, now your Uncle Dave is going to have homework. We've given him an extension. The dog ate his initial.
Yeah, I just didn't
Paper.
have time to do it.
So, but we've got a different and interesting little game here in NASCAR to play before we get to our Advent Health 400 picks. The nominees for the NASCAR Hall of Fame this year have been announced. The Modern Era ballot: Greg Biffle, Neil Bonnet, Tim Brewer, Jeff Burton, Randy Dorton, Carl Edwards, Harry Gant, Harry Hyde, Ricky Rudd, and Jack Sprague. Two of them will get in. Wouldn't it be nice if
Wouldn't
other
it
ones
be nice if they could pick
No,
a
Dave, we do
worthy
that on the weekend
candidate?
edition. Beach Boys weekend edition.
Okay.
But the NFL, the NBA, wouldn't it be nice if they restricted themselves a little bit?
It would be
Showed
lovely.
some restraint like this?
Yes, they should.
The Pioneer ballot, one gets in between Ray Hendrick, Banjo Matthews, Ralph Moody, Larry Phillips, and Bob Wellborn. Now, I don't know how they award the Landmark Award.
No idea.
Alvin Hawkins, Lisa France Kennedy, Dr. Joseph Mattioli, Dr. Dean Sicking, and Les Richter. But here's where the fun comes in. I've already put my votes in.
Now, I
did them online. They are on record. I did them online. So Dave is going to give you his 2 Modern Era nominees and his 1 Pioneer ballot nominee for the Hall of Fame.
Modern Era. Do I go with my heart of 2 guys who I always liked and rooted for? Or do I go more deserving, who had more of an impact overall? This is the conundrum you run into. Well, I would love to put Neil Bonnet and Harry Gant in. Building engines that won 9 championships across the series is pretty damn impressive from Randy Dorton.
Well, that's 1.
That's 1.
See, he's had time to think about this, and he's just stuck in his own head.
I am. I'll put in Jack Sprague with winning the 3 championships in the Truck Series.
Who are the 2 guys you wanted to put in?
Bonnet and Gant.
Guess who Kev voted for?
Bonnet and Gant.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I went old school. I went with Bonnet and Gant. I was not going to go. I was flirting with Biffle.
No.
But because of what he's done outside the Cup Series. Not going to go with Edwards.
No.
Not going to go with Burton. But yeah, I went with the old school guys, Gant and Bonnet.
I've got no problem with that.
All right, so who do you go with on the Pioneer ballot?
I'm going with Ralph Moody.
I'm trying to remember who
Of
I
the
voted
famed
for.
Holman-Moody combo.
I got to look at these again.
Because
I did not go with Ray Hendrick. I'll tell you that right now. I knew I was never going to go with Ray Hendrick. I think I might have gone with Moody as well. I think I might have.
it was between him and Banjo Matthews.
Yeah, I won't say for sure. I might. I know I did not go with Ray Hendrick. I will say that. No way in hell was I going with Ray Hendrick. But there you go, kids. A little bit of fun. So, of course, you know, they will put in everybody and anybody outside of who we want to get in.
That's usually how it works.
So 6 of our 8 panelists have their picks in. Still a little bit of time left before our deadline for the Advent Health 400, race 12 of the 2024 Cup season. May the 5th, this coming Sunday in Kansas City, Kansas Speedway.
Not another unexciting track.
Yes. Doug and Aaron right now are the only two in agreement. Doug and Aaron go with Christopher Bell.
Might be a decent pick. He was on the radar.
Bill is going with Alex Bowman. Sam goes with Denny Hamlin, not doing a
Can't
back-to-back.
go back to back. It doesn't work.
Too hard to do, too rare.
Yep. I am going to take William Byron on a bounce back week after his hard luck at Dover.
Yeah, he was on my radar. But I am going to burn my second, Kyle Larson. He has come so close so many times. He needs to catch up to Denny Hamlin and William Byron in terms of wins. And this track, this is set up for him.
I would have, but I need to use my last Larson. I've already burned 2.
Yep.
I have him
And
penciled
Bill's
in at
burned
one
all
other
3.
place. He has.
Bill's already burned all 3. So, a little bit of an advantage for Kev, the maestro. A little bit of an advantage here. We get some road courses coming up, some super speedways where I don't have to worry about burning the big name drivers. Can start diving deep into
Hit
the
the
roster.
road courses where you can use your Christopher
Chicago
Bell,
street
where
course.
you can pull Reddick up a little bit.
Yep.
and
Chase
your
Elliott.
Elliott.
Yep.
So we've got our plots and ploys.
Yep. And of course, it's just pisses me off that Bill ostensibly, kind of, sorta, is in the lead. He's got 3 wins. After bitching and pissing and moaning last year. Let the kids hear this. Do you know what they're doing in baseball? Now, Bill runs Sports Frenzy West. He started a second Sports Frenzy franchise.
In his retirement community.
Yes. He's outside of Chicago, so he is Sports Frenzy West. Here, outside of South Bend, we are Sports Frenzy East. Baseball. Got to go back to baseball. Now, of course, we just mentioned Bill bitched and pissed and moaned and led a contingent that made us change all the rules for NASCAR to make things easier. Somehow Doug still can't get in, even with the rules now changed to make things easier. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see
Long
how
way
it
to go.
goes.
Long way to go. But baseball. Maybe this is the time where we discuss, give you guys a refresher on baseball. The Field of Frenzy, a.k.a. Morningwood, 26 weeks in the baseball season. For the most part, they are Monday to Sunday.
Yep.
With a few exceptions. The first week goes a little long. All-Star week a little
really
short. Other than that, we set it up initially, which I thought was brilliant. The last 10 weeks of the season, the leader has to give his pick, his or her pick, at least the day before, to the group.
Yeah.
God, Bill's such a fucking liberal. God, everybody gets a trophy. We got to make it so everybody can win. He's extending it out 15 weeks.
Why?
So starting week 11, the leader has to disclose his or her pick instead of week 16 or week 17 like
I think we have a late entrant for Dumbass of the Week.
Why would you do that? Otherwise, you want everybody just lumped up together at the very end.
Do that.
You penalize success. This is what liberals do. They penalize success. 10 weeks is more than enough time.
We even debated going to 5 at one point.
10 weeks is more than enough time for everybody to gain ground on the leader, knowing his or her pick ahead of time.
Yep.
15 weeks out from the end?
No.
Now, I did tell him, I said, in an ideal world, for NASCAR and for baseball, can't do it. It's not feasible. Can't do it. Ideally, if we were all rich, we all lived in a community and saw each other every day, every Sunday we get together and we draft like we do in fantasy football every week.
Who you taking?
Yeah.
Boom.
And you can't take somebody who's already been drafted. But you can't do that. It's not feasible.
No, you can't.
That'd be the cool way to do it. Right?
It would be interesting.
All right. Sorry, little insider sports frenzy there for you. All right, Dave. Time to move on to moments of silence. Now, I remember recently I asked you about football. And when I was talking about Roman Gabriel, and I was talking about your earliest recollections of the players that your dad maybe would talk about when you first became cognizant of football, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this, but let's do this with racing. Let's go back. Because I remember the drivers my dad used to talk about. My dad was he didn't like NASCAR, but he loved IndyCar. My dad loved IndyCar. The Indy 500, had to listen to it on the radio, watch the replay on TV later on.
Because it was blacked out in the state.
Right.
Yeah.
Earliest recollections of your dad, what drivers he would mention for the Indy 500.
We would listen to it as a family.
Right.
So you always knew you had Parnelli Jones, AJ Foyt, Dallenbach. You had
who?
Wally Dallenbach, who happens to be
our moment of silence.
Wally Dallenbach Sr.
Yep. Wally Dallenbach Sr., 13 Indy 500 starts.
Yep.
Of course, his son went on to actually race in NASCAR.
Yeah.
I was waiting because this is politically incorrect. I know it's terrible to say it, but my dad would always talk about Gordon John Cock.
Gordon John Cock.
Johnny Rutherford, of course.
Johnny Rutherford, Rick Mears, the Unser brothers.
You get into Bobby Rahal
and then the Flying Hawaiian, Danny Ungaius.
Yes. Yep. Just wanted to go down memory lane a little bit with you.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I was waiting for you to hit Mr. Dallenbach. Yep. Wally Dallenbach Sr.
Yep.
Unfortunately passes away here.
89.
This past week.
Solid driver, but man, he did a lot for the sport as a steward and behind the scenes.
Yeah, after he left IndyCar, you're right. Absolutely
after he was
right.
done as a driver, he did wonders for the sport.
Yes, behind the scenes in management, in development, unbelievable work. On the flip side, now, by all accounts, I mean, Wally Dallenbach Sr. lived a full life.
Yeah.
5-year NFL offensive lineman Corey Cunningham dies at the age of 28.
Ouch.
And we hate to hear that. We always hate to hear when somebody dies so young. So thoughts and prayers to the families of Wally Dallenbach Sr. and Corey Cunningham.
And we'll give hockey a little due. Long-time Hall of Fame hockey broadcaster in Canada, over 50 years calling games. Bob Cole passed away.
Now, who do you call games for?
Just hockey, the national hockey, Canadian broadcasts.
Gotcha. All right, we're going to make it easy this week as we pivot. Right, Dave?
Yes, Mr. Geller.
Going to give you three dumbass contenders here this week for the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week. Let's start off with the Colorado Rockies.
Oh, the idiot father-son duo.
No.
Oh no, wait, Colorado Rockies. I'm thinking the Colorado Buffaloes. Sorry.
No, we're getting there.
I got ahead of myself.
You're jumping.
I got ahead of myself. All I heard was-
Premature dumbassery. God damn it.
I heard
you
Colorado.
took a blue pill, didn't you?
I heard Colorado and jumped the gun.
Nice, though. You're right. There is a link there. A couple of Colorado dumbasses. But the first one is the Colorado Rockies, the baseball team. They had a chance last night. Again, we're taping here on May the 1st. Last night, April the 30th, they were up 5-0 in the ninth inning against the Marlins. And somehow they choked the game away, which kept their record-breaking streak alive. They have played 29 games this season, and they have somehow found a way to trail at some point in every single game. Now, that, of course, does not mean they have lost every game, but they have been behind
in every game.
But last night was just 5-0 in the ninth, and they end up losing in extra innings. This put their streak at 29, and it is the first time that we have seen a baseball team do this since 1900.
Ouch.
That's the last time a team trailed at some point in all of their first 29 games. Now we'll move on to Dave and, of course, his jumping the gun. We alluded to this earlier.
Yes.
I still don't know why anybody thinks Deion Sanders will ever make it as a head coach in the NFL.
He won't.
He is destroying Colorado as we speak. And, of course, he's creating a monster with his arrogant son, Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, Shedeur is becoming a very unlikable young man.
People talk about Caleb Williams having an arrogant personality. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
You can
You want to take this on?
Yeah, but when Caleb is interviewed, he comes across completely different.
If you kids haven't heard, Deion and Shedeur Sanders have been on social media battling former Colorado players because, yes, remember last year when Deion Sanders took over the Colorado Buffaloes program
and told everybody
flushed everybody
hit
out.
The portal now. You're not playing.
I'm bringing my guys in. Well, it turns out a lot of those guys are leaving.
Yes, they are.
And they don't have kind words for Deion and Shedeur, specifically Deion. Many former Colorado players are on social media saying things like, Coach destroyed the confidence that I had. Even ESPN, as PC as ESPN is, in their headline on this story today, on May the 1st, said Deion and Shedeur belittle former players.
Yeah.
Including one that turned out to leave the program and played for Austin Peay and was a first team All-Pro or All-Star, whatever. All-American for that level.
Yeah.
And I still hear, oh, Dallas is going to want him. Jerry Jones is going to want him.
Not with this crap.
Let Jerry Jones hire him as a head coach, and we can all laugh. We can all laugh as the Cowboys implode. Deion Sanders is done already. And I knew it. I want to. Can I pull it? Can I do it?
You can.
Can I do it? We fucking told you so. with the arrogance and the ego as he came into Colorado. And all he cared about was commercials. Affleck. All he cared about was his own image. That's all he's ever cared about.
Yeah. And it wasn't that long ago where we actually gave him props for taking his players to task for not showing up in class and not showing respect to the faculty.
Right. We did. We absolutely did.
And then he pulls shit like this.
And it undermines all the good stuff.
Yeah.
It undermines
Because
all the good
this
stuff.
is who he is at heart.
Yes, he is an egomaniac. He always has been. He always will be. I would never, ever, ever want him running my team, and I would never, ever, ever draft his son.
No.
You guys who follow the NBA, how's that working out with the Ball family? Just putting it out there. How's that working out with the Ball family? You want another egomaniac father-son tandem? I wouldn't. No way in hell. No way in hell. I'll take Arch Manning any day. And finally, Valley Center High School in Kansas. Their baseball team under investigation. Season suspended. They must have watched Major League one time too many. Suspected of killing a chicken
Sacrificing a chicken to
in
Joe
the middle
Bill.
of the baseball diamond at their field.
You had to appease Joe Boo. They couldn't hit the curveball. They needed a little extra power.
But they brought down the wrath of PETA and all sorts of federal agencies.
Oh my God. Seriously.
Yeah, again, season suspended for Valley Center High School in Kansas because they allegedly killed a chicken in the middle of the diamond.
That even became a story is dumbassery.
So who is it, Dave? Who's the dumbass of the week?
Oh God, it's got to be the Sanders family.
Yeah,
by default.
I'm with you on that. I cannot argue. As bad as the Rockies story is, it happens. But yeah, Dion and Shador are just creating their own problems.
Yep.
Check out the weekend edition. Lots going on with rock and roll and nothing specific. A very ephemeral show coming up.
Yep, but it's still going to be your favorite politically incorrect entertainment pop culture fest.
Weekend hangover cure Saturday morning. See you, kids.